80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. This is Living Your Life Well Planned, the 80-20-365 success system invented by my pal, Adam Vincent Gilmer. I'm Gene Velitis, and I'm your host. And welcome back. Welcome to episode 38. Hope you enjoyed our previous episode where we talked about the 6 pillars and bringing your life into balance. Now, the last episode, really fantastic. It went really long. Adam had some fantastic insights about planning, 30, 60, 90 day, his 5-year plan out, which he's done every year, which I do every year. And, one of the things you need to take advantage of this free course, like we said in the previous episodes, like we say in every episode, you really do need your daily planner. It'll become your GPS. You'll have your plan, you'll have your goals, but more importantly, which really keeps people on track, at the end of every day, you're going to score your day to see if you had a winning day, if you did enough, or if you maybe outperformed yourself. And again, that's all about bringing balance in your life in these 6 different pillars. So as we also mentioned, we're going to have some special friends and experts on in these episodes coming up, and we do in this episode. Now, before we get to our guests, Adam, we told everybody, not told, but we explained to everybody the advantages of having the daily planner and what you need to do. I thought it would be fun if people are joining us in January of 2021. And again, you don't have to, if you're listening to this in June, it's just as applicable if you're starting your plan right now. So don't worry about the date. Just worry about getting the planner and getting started. So in our previous episode, we told you how to set everything up. In this episode, the 5 things to quit in 2021, according to Adam. I'm just going to run down the list quickly, and then we'll meet our guests. The 5 things Adam suggests you quit: trying to please everybody. Don't be a people pleaser. Fearing change. That's a good one. Living in the past. Another good one here coming up. Doubting yourself. Oh, those paradigms in yourself, in your subconscious can really get to you. And the final one is overthinking. Well, Adam, welcome back to the podcast. This is something I caught on one of your Instagram posts, and I said, wow, well, if Adam's posting this and letting everybody know these are things he should get rid of this year, this is something we have to talk about. But first, and to help expand on all these things you need to give up, we have 2 experts and 2 guests joining us here on the podcast. Let's start out with Sherry Sharman. Sherry, welcome to the podcast. It's so cool to have you here.
Well, thank you, Gene, and it's so great to be here. I when you were talking, I'm like, I got my daily planner right here by my desk because it's so important. Because if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So it's like I love that we're doing this worldwide.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Tell our listeners who may not know you a little bit about yourself and as one of our friends and guests, what you're bringing to the table and helping everybody today. And you know what? And what's great about this course is everybody contributes for free, and it's being of service and helping give more to other people, because we all know the more we help out other people, the more we get in return. It's just perfect karma. It's also just physics as well. So give us a little background, Sherry.
Okay, well, I'm one of the baby boomers. I was born in the early 50s. So I've seen a lot change in this world. And, my absolute goal in life was to be a mom. I look back and, when everybody else wanted to be scientists and, doctors and nurses and all these things, I wanted to be a mom. And what happened for me is I was, had my son, and I had 2 stepchildren and got them through school. And then all of a sudden I realized that I was not happy in the marriage I was in. And so when I got divorced, I went to something that was very familiar to me. I became a preschool teacher, working with kids. Loved it, but I couldn't afford to make ends meet. And I was introduced to the network marketing industry back in the late 80s and hit a home run. And I really, truly believe that the reason why I became successful is this is a people building business. I don't know what business you're in, but, for me, I absolutely fell in love with it, Gene, and just, and skyrocketed in that industry, been in it for over 30 years, teamed up with Adam, which I have to say that, not only is he a good friend, but he lives what he talks, and I think that's so important in this day and age, because there is, I'm just going to put it out there. There's a lot of BS going on in the world right now. And I think that, if you can find a mentor that really walks their talk like Adam does, I truly believe that you can have success in anything that you do.
Yeah, I agree. And all of us on this call are big fans of the direct selling industry. I spent a long time in it myself, and you know what? It's an honorable way to earn an income unlike any other you can do. There's no favoritism, there's no nepotism. It's just all about relationship building and working smart. All right, our next special guest and expert is Jeffrey Gall, joining us on this podcast episode. Hey, Jeffrey, welcome to this podcast. It's so great to have you on.
Thank you, Gene, and truly is my pleasure. And thank you, Adam, for inviting me as a guest today. I'm honored to be amongst some amazing individuals this morning, like Sherry Sharman and Adam Gilmer and yourself. My background, a little bit different than Sherry's. I was taught as a young boy to get a great education, get a degree, find a job, work there till you're 55, get the gold watch, and retire. And so that's what I did. I went to school. I got a degree in electrical engineering, and that found me out here in California involved in the aerospace industry. And I did well. I was in my 20s, I had newly married, a young baby, and I thought I'd made it. I thought I arrived. And what I realized as I was working with these individuals throughout all these different aerospace companies is that I didn't want to spend the next 30 years doing the same thing day in and day out and end up with a gold watch. It no longer worked for me. When I was finally in it, I knew it was the wrong place for me. So I was always open-minded. My window of opportunity was always open. And so when I was approached regarding the direct sales industry, they didn't present it that way. They just told me, hey, sharp guy like you could make some extra money. Are you interested? I said, is it legal? If it is, I'm very open to it. And what was interesting is the very first company I started with in 1988, I believe, is the first company that Adam started with. So although we didn't know each other then, we were actually started at the same place. Sherry started the same year, but in a different company. So we all kind of been around for roughly the same amount of time in the industry. And I found being an independent distributor, I could truly impact lives, which was extremely rewarding for me. It wasn't about the money. It already made good money. And yes, I was looking for passive residual income, but I found how I could impact other lives and be of service gave me this great gratitude and really accomplishment. And so I did that for a number of years full time. And then I decided to go corporate. I was unhappy with decisions that owners were making that were affecting my life and my family's life and livelihood. And so I spent the next 17, 18 years in a corporate background, both domestically, internationally, pretty much always business development, always out there helping to build teams, grow teams, advance momentum, and really help people achieve their goals, dreams, and desires. So I'm excited to be here, and I respect everything that Adam has done. He's definitely, as Sherry said, walks his talk. He doesn't present something without already doing it himself. And I believe that it's an honorable position to be in, someone who's actually doing what they say and saying what they do. And those are the kind of people I choose to surround myself with. And I know that's part of our discussion this morning is who do you want to surround yourself with is actually going to guide and direct or actually determine what you become and who you become and your level of success. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you, Gene. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Jeffrey, for that. And if you are in the direct selling industry, let me point out something. Adam and I have worked together for a long time. We've trained thousands of people around the world to help make your business grow and build and feel confident about it. Sherry and Jeffrey have outtrained us a million times. We're talking about people who have literally trained hundreds of thousands of people around the world to success. And the interesting thing is, just like these podcasts, they did not charge them one penny. They just gave service, and they have service hearts. And that's what makes the world really run properly if you get involved in this business. It's truly life-changing. Okay, we know our friends, we know our experts. Let's get rolling here on podcast number 38. According to Adam Vincent Gilmer, the 5 things to quit in 2021. So, Adam, let's start off with you. Trying to please everyone.
All right. Well, happy New Year to everybody. I'm so glad that both Sherry and Jeff could join us this morning. And, as I said, we're expanding the show. We're making great things take place. What I wanted to say to everybody is like, look, I had to make a decision not to please my dad anymore. Okay. Which was hard because, all of us have a father figure. All of us have a dad. All of us have a mom. And the biggest challenge is that my dad didn't believe that I could, or I wanted to create, he called it twiddle your toes in the sand income, okay? And having residual income. And just so you know, I love my father. It's like something I didn't, not love him. It was just like, there was a change going on. And it's just like when I look at what millennials are doing today, okay, and with Generation X, you look at what the millennials are doing, they're into a whole bunch of different stuff, start this, that, the other, and they're moving at a different pace. Now, some of them get a great education and end up moving, right back home going, okay, what am I going to do with my life? So, when I say, the things that you need to give up or the things that you need to say no to, and for me, it was, it was having to face, the hard part was, it was me becoming a man and having to face my dad and say, hey, Dad, look, here's the direction I'm going to take my life. And Gene, it was thinking back, I got the emotion running in my body. It's like, it was hard to have that man to man or come to Jesus meeting conversation with him. But at the end of the day, you got to hear how he talks about me today, right? Now, we still don't have a direct relationship anymore where like he talks to me personally and says, hey, this, that, and the other. But what I hear from my brothers is like, he is extremely proud of me. Now, what I'm trying to get across is that, look, when you're building your dreams and goals, there's going to come a time where there's certain people in your life where you're going to have to make the hard line decision on moving them. Are they moving you towards your goals and dreams? Or are they moving you away from your goals and dreams? And, when you have, it's like a boat with an anchor, it's not going anywhere. You can set that, push it all the way forward and start going. And with that anchor dragging, the boat is not going to do what it's supposed to be, what it's designed for, with a purpose. So I had to have that real hard decision. And just so you know, it caused a crack in the relationship. But just so everybody understands, you have to create certain cracks in your foundation in order to rebuild and make it better. When somebody takes over a piece of real estate and they say, listen, hey, I'm going to rebuild this property, sometimes it creates it's an entire remodel that goes on. And that's what you have to fashion your life after. You must move your life in the direction of what's attractive to what's driving you. Otherwise, you're going to end up being a person that's completely lost, rudderless, a great ship in the middle of the ocean, or, you have no wind in your sails. And, the only time people are going to notice you is when something is passing in the distance. Oh, looking through the binoculars, like, oh, there's a nice boat out there. Wonder what that's doing. You can't live your life that way. And for 2021, especially, I see so much after going through coronavirus and seeing all the crazy changes that have taken place. And I'm talking about changes, not just growth. I'm talking about changes, like people's lives have been impacted. Some people have made incredible money going through the process. And there's a lot more people that have lost everything. Restaurant owners, this, that, and the other. It's time for change. So, you take a look at the things that you're not supposed to do, or this, that, and the other. You already know what they are. Everybody knows in their psychology that's running. It's like, oh, here's what I'm not supposed to do, but you end up doing it. I'm like, listen, come on, stand up for something, go after it. Get some balls and chutzpah. Like step up and say, listen, here's the line stops with me. Make the decision and go for it. And by the way, the best thing in the world for you to do when you're doing it is to actually write it down. I just, on the last episode, we talked about me planning the next, 2021. I plan through 2026. And I know that's a little bit big for some people because, I don't have a special ball that'll look into it and tell me what's going to happen. But the point being is that you've got to have specific associations that are going to lead you in the direction of your dreams and goals. And then other ones we have to have limited time. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but this is important. And I want to make sure people understand is like the people that I invited on the show here today, listen, I have a lot of respect for it. And the reason is I see them doing the work. Not only have I spent time, broken bread, laughed, had some great drinks, funny times, Christmas parties, and this, that, and the other. But listen, besides all that, okay, they also have a work ethic that is second to none, okay? And they're willing to do whatever it takes. They're willing to expand and grow. And if you're not on board with expanding and growing, then I suggest you don't watch any of our, episodes on Spotify or iTunes, because guess what? If you're ready to make massive growth, AKA change, take place, you've got to listen to what we're talking about, because this is going to allow you to move your life in the direction and end up living an incredible, purposeful life and being in a place that you're supposed to be.
Right. Adam, just one quick point before we go to Sherry here. When we're talking about trying to please people, we've talked about this a lot in our previous episodes, but you also have to watch the Dream Pirates. When you tell people your big, bold, fantastic dream, you're going to get a lot of people who are going to say, you can't do that. Those are the Dream Pirates. You have to watch out for them. Don't try to please the Dream Pirates. Please yourself. Okay, number 2 on the list. And Sherry, I want you to come in and I want you to deal with this because I know your experience and I know your history and how you've done so many things and how you've changed your life. From a young woman, a mom at home, to one of the most spectacularly successful people in the direct sales industry on the planet Earth. So number 2 on Adam's list to give up for 2021 was fearing change. Talk about that.
That's a good one because I had no idea what change would be like when I got started in the whole network marketing industry, because I was very simple-minded back then. I really did a lot of personal development before I got involved in this industry. I spent money that I didn't have to go to, personal development courses and all of that. And it was painful. I mean, really, taking a look at your life and going, this is not the direction I want. And when you decide to get on another path, it does take some courage. And, when you were talking about the Dream Pirates, I call them Dream Stealers, and people that come in, I had so many people, telling me I couldn't make it, and what was I thinking, starting a new career in an industry that, a lot of people don't understand, they really, sit back and have their judgment. So making those decisions, it does take courage, and there were times that, I would sit and I'd go, what am I doing? Is this the right path? And what ended up happening was is just the more that I stopped listening to those dream stealers or the Dream Pirates, and I started going, what is it that I want in my life, not what everybody else wants.
Yeah.
And I really have to say it does take courage, but everyone is born with it. Every single person has the ability to be courageous, to, write down what is it that you want, design your life, and take time and get serious about what you want instead of what everybody else wants. And that is how that path gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And Gina, I'm so grateful for this podcast because I think so many people need to hear this, because especially right now with what's going on in the world, people are glued to the news, and I always tell people, for every negative, you need 10 positives. And I don't even care if you watch puppies on YouTube, something that's going to make you smile, because we're being just downloaded with so much negativity. And, you know, go for a walk on the beach, go to the, you know, to the forest and lean up against a tree, whatever is going to do to change your state of mind, you know, to get you in a positive state of mind. You know, breathe, you know, all these things make such a difference when you're on your road to success.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. And as a former radio news director for many, many years, with large staffs of people, I can tell you what happens in a newsroom. And there's an old expression: bad news is good news for the news. And that's why it's all bad news, because that's how they get ratings. And you know what? Every single person on this podcast will tell you something. Turn off your TV set. Don't pick up a newspaper. You know, lead a life, be informed, but don't watch it 24 hours a day. Well, listen, let's move over to Jeffrey, because we've got to keep things going on this podcast. Jeffrey, boy, you know what? I know your background, and you're going to be great for this one. Number 3 in the 5 things to quit in 2021, according to Adam Vincent Gilmer: living in the past. Oh, Jeffrey.
That is a good one, because we all get stuck. People get stuck. It's human nature, and they just can't seem to move forward. And the reality is this: all of you that drive a car, do you realize that the rear view mirror is so much smaller than the windshield? Where you're going has far more perception to than where you've come from. So the reality is people need to be moving forward. You know, there's a lot of old sayings in our industry, you know, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. You can't get better when you're living in the past, when you're trying to please others. I mean, it's funny, because when I got in this industry, my ex-wife at the time said, you know, we're making great money. And she said, when are you going to get a real job again? And I said, I don't understand. I mean, we're making more money, traveling the world, impacting lives. And she said, but it's not a real job. And so it's the perception people have. And so we need to get out of our box. The funny thing is we all have a box that we live in. Some of our boxes are small, and some of our boxes are real big. The reality is the masses are comfortable in this uncomfortable box. So they're comfortable with that, because change is scary. You know, Sherry talked about being fearful. Change is scary because we don't know what the future holds. The reality is people like Adam and others, and truly successful people, they actually predict the future. You know why? Because they create the future. They're focused on moving forward. So people say, how did you know you were going to have this? Because they created it. You know, I come from a little bit different background, and being an engineer, I got into the world of quantum physics and energy and vibration. And our minds are our brain is the most powerful transmitter and receiver of energy. And this is not a statement I'm throwing out. This is something that Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison proved this. They proved this back in the early 19th century, and they measured it. And so what we know is what we're thinking, we're putting out, and the universe is returning to us. The universe doesn't judge us as good or bad. It just returns whatever that vibration is. So when we're stuck or thinking about the past, and the problem with most people, you know, we talk about manifesting your dreams and manifesting your future. Most people focus on what they don't want.
Yes.
I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be with this person. I hate my job. The more you manifest, the more that's delivered to you.
Right.
They need to focus on what they want, and that's the future. You know, the great thing and the great analogy is I love when people go to a buffet. You know, you have all these different kinds of foods. It's real easy to find out when you take certain food. I don't like that. That's great. Now you know what not to eat. You can get to try the other foods. Same thing in life. If you're unhappy, make a decision and move forward. There's a principle I live by. There's actually many principles, but one of the principles is success is nothing more than a decision away. Change your mind. It's like changing
Absolutely.
station. You know, you go from 101.1 to 105.7. The moment you change that station, the moment you change your mind, everything shifts around you. So keep your focus on the windshield, not the rear view mirror. It's unimportant.
Great advice. You know, you remind me of that great quote, the best way to predict the future is to invent it.
Correct.
I just love that. Thanks, Jeffrey. That's great. Listen, we got 2 more to go. I'm going to get Adam to deal with one, and then we'll quickly go around the table for the final one. Number 4 on your list to give up, Adam, is overthinking. Adam, overthinking.
You know, unfortunately, our education system is set up, and you know, I get this from Robert Kiyosaki, right? So, and I believe in it. Okay, our education system is set up to make you a great employee. It's not set up to make you, and I know what you're really created for, which is the seeds of greatness that I put in the back of your head, actually going for it. And what happens is because we see these great giant companies being built, and you know, multi-billion and now trillion-dollar companies that are out there. You know, when we think of those companies, when we think of, you know, first of all, I mean, I remember thinking, what would it be like, you know, to have a company make, you know, have $1 million in sales? Actually, it was even less than that, 100,000. All right, so you know, I remember the first goals I had of saying, how do I create, you know, $1 million company, right? And then hang on, let's even backtrack from that. My first real thought was like, can I do 100,000 in volume? And the challenge is that I hadn't done it before, and these limiting beliefs hold you back. So like once I got through 100,000, then I was like, well, can I create 200,000, 250,000? Can I create $1 million? And then you take a look at these big companies today that are multiple billion and also trillion.
Hang on, Adam.
Why? Because we have a rocket that can take off.
You were frozen again. Can you just pick it up? Sorry, I don't know what's happening to the internet.
I don't know. It's welcome to our world. So
yeah, it happens.
Elon Musk became the richest guy in the world, and he had this assumption that he could have a rocket take off, and then he could have the same rocket come back and land. And I talked about this in an episode before, a few weeks back. And here's the thing: he challenged the assumption. Okay, he challenged it, and what it comes down to, you know, the thoughts and things that are running through your head. If you haven't done it before, of course it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. But that's the people that we're looking for. We're looking, and the people that we want to have on the time management system and the planner, the people that are going to stretch, the people that say, listen, I am no longer going to take what the what the world is trying to put on me. I'm actually going to explore the seeds of greatness inside myself to expand. And by the way, the moment that you adopt that thought, that's all we're looking for, because now you've been put on a track. It's almost like a compass, you know. If you shake the compass around and it doesn't know what it's doing, and all of a sudden you let it sit and settle, and then it gives you north, true north, south, what have you. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the people who are willing to get outside the box. Because if you stuck inside the box of being a good employee, Kiyosaki, Robert, I follow him on Instagram. I also follow him on Facebook. And there's a reason, because our thoughts align. And if our thoughts are aligning with you, you know, you're talking with Sherry, you're talking with Jeff today, if the thoughts that we're putting out there are aligning with you, you've got to make a few little assumptions. And when you make those assumptions for yourself, those allow change to take place in your mind process. And once that starts to happen, you are on the same page. Okay, welcome to the freedom movement, literally, meaning that we want to set you free. And it's not just setting you free financially, it's setting you free spiritually, it's setting you free on the information you're taking in, it's setting you free on how you look from a physical standpoint. It sets you free on how you're going to manage your time, which is, you know, what our program is about, and who you're going to network with. And then the finances roll in. I've never had an opportunity where someone just walked up to me, gave me a check and said, here you go, here's a check for you. It's always come from creating a thought and idea, expanding, getting outside my box. It's uncomfortable. It's not easy, but success isn't easy. If it was easy, everybody would be massively successful.
Yeah.
You've got to make small little changes. And Gene, that's what the show's about. That's what this specific topic's about. You got to give up literally being fearful. Actually, here's what I've learned to do. And I find out here's how God works. The moment I have some fear show up in my life, here's what I do. I step into it. You know what happens when you step into fear? Great things, okay? Because fear all of a sudden has to raise its head up, going, oh my God, here comes something that we weren't expecting. They were expecting to dominate you. You got to step into that. And once you step into it, great things take place. You've now, it's almost like become like the butterfly effect, which has been talked about many, many times. Go and Google that and look that up. You know, butterflies flapping their wings can create change, okay? And if you take a look at everything, how do they become a butterfly, right? Start out as a caterpillar, go into this amazing cocoon, all of a sudden they come out as this beautiful thing. That's what we're here to do for you, okay? And the reasons why I invited Sherry and Jeff to be part of what we're doing on the broadcast is because I've seen firsthand how they tackle challenges, change, fears, objections. And I'm just here to tell you that this team, that they're absolutely amazing. And Gene, you too. You've done the same things with your career. I watch you bounce from this from California to Toronto all the way to Vancouver. Well, by the way, welcome to the same time zone, which is great. But you've got to go through the process. And none of us can walk you through the process because you're on your own journey, you're your own vessel. But I'm going to tell you something. You've got people with experience to help you weather the storm.
And here's the interesting thing, my observation of your last comments. You've talked there a number of times about, thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of the box. Well, you know what makes thinking outside of the box even easier? If you're talking to people who are already outside of the box and they can read you the instructions. And guess what? All of us are outside of the box, and they're reading you the instructions on this podcast for free because we want you to do better. Okay.
Gene, it reminds me, before you go on to the other two, it reminds me of this. Listen, when you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket and the crabs are trying to escape, okay, finally they build up and one's trying to get out, and guess what happens? To the negative side of, for the listeners listening, the other crabs, they've been trying to escape. The other crabs now reach up and pull the crab down, okay, back into the masses. You know what our job is? Our job is to get as many of you outside the bucket as possible.
Exactly. Okay. Here's our final thing, according to Adam Vincent Gilmer, to give up in 2021. Let's just quickly go around the horn with this one. And Jeffrey and Sherry, can you stay around for the next episode?
I'm available.
Definitely.
Great, because the next one's another good one for the new year as well. Okay, let's do this one quickly. The final thing to give up in 2021, according to the big guy, and that is doubting yourself. Ooh, a big one. Sherry, doubting yourself. Let's start with you. I bet you know what, because it's happened to all of us.
I think that is really just human nature, that we do that. Until we've done something and accomplished it, we doubt ourselves. I remember the first time I went snow skiing, and I'm watching all these people go down the hill and they're just having this great time. And, I was almost a professional water skier. So I thought snow skiing is going to be a piece of cake. And I got on that mountain and I crashed and fell and bruised and all these different things because I doubted myself once I got on there and it was different. So that's kind of what this whole podcast is about, is going out of your comfort zone, and really understanding that we're all going to doubt ourselves until you accomplish it. And that's why we're here, is to cheer you on and to tell you, when you fall down, you get back up, just like a newborn baby, when it starts walking, we are cheering that child on to walk. And that's why in this business, it's the same thing. And I thank you, Adam, for putting this together, because I know it's going worldwide. And the more people we can, help them get out of their comfort zone and really believe in themselves, the more powerful this planet will be. So I'm excited that you asked me that question. Thank you, Gene.
Can I jump in, Gene? I heard something really great. And, I'd love to see Sherry, do a yard sale skiing. Okay. And for most people that don't know, like, what does that mean? And here's what's apropos to what we're talking about. A yard sale when you're skiing is you go down the hill, you crash, you lose your skis, you lose your poles, you lose your goggles, you lose your beanie, maybe your helmet, and you end up coming out and you go, holy crap. Now, here's the great thing. You've learned so much coming down the hill and going through that process. Okay. Now, Sherry also said she remembered seeing people going down the slopes and having a good time. I'm willing to bet, thousands of dollars to none that all of those people had a yard sale. Okay. And that's the experience that we're going to walk you through as experts.
Well, listen, I can tell you, I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm within a half an hour of two of the greatest resorts in the world, and 90 minutes away from Whistler Blackcomb, one of the greatest ski resorts on the planet Earth. And I've not only had garage sales or lawn sales, I've had football field sales. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, listen, we're just about out of time. Jeffrey, I'm going to do the last word. The final thing to give up, according to Adam Vincent Gilmer, in the year 2021, and we'll get your take on this, and it's doubting yourself. Jeffrey, to you.
Definitely. Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Cars, we all know who that is. He stated, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are correct. It's all in the thinking. And so a couple things I want to do, because I know we're at the end here, is watch the people you're surrounding yourselves with. Those are the people in your ear constantly. You'll never do it. How are you going to do it? You don't have this experience. You fail in everything. Keep your job. It's just on and on and on. You need to remove yourself from that. We've all said this, that if you want to know what 5 years from now is going to look like, look at the 5 closest friends in your life. It's interesting when you say it, people say, wow, jokingly, I may need to change friends. It's not a joke. It's right. You need to make a decision of who you want to be. And then the biggest thing is you need to take action. Sherry's analogy was great. I look at it as soaring eagles. We think about an eagle soaring and there's not a lot of them. That's power, that's strength, that's performance, that's success. We all watch people around us, and I've heard people say, wow, Adam is traveling the world, 400,000 plus air miles last year, and he's visiting all these amazing things. Well, listen, at one time, Adam chose to step off that cliff to soar. I can guarantee you, as all of us have experienced, the first time you step off, you will not soar. You're going to hit the rocks. You're going to get bruises. You're going to get scrapes. You're going to do like Sherry did skiing. I've done that a few times myself when I first started skiing. It's all about going through the process. You must go through the process. Think about how a diamond is made. It is carbon under tremendous pressure over a period of time, creates this brilliant VVS diamond. This stone that everybody wants, that's willing to pay whatever it takes to get. You are that diamond. You just might not be at that piece yet. You have to go through the pressure. It doesn't come for free. Nothing comes for free. So it's all about taking action, fighting through the fear, knowing you're going to be okay. And what Adam and you have done with this podcast is you are giving people a hand up, to lift them up from where they are by giving them the information, the knowledge, the coaching to help them get to that next level. So it's time to take action. Thank you.
Jeffrey, that was great. And, I just want to pick up on something that you were mentioning in your answer there, because you talked about surrounding yourself with people. Our next episode coming up, and our experts and friends here on the podcast, Jeffrey and Sherry, are going to be with us on the next episode. The next episode is 5 people to surround yourself with in this new year, according to Adam Vincent Gilmer. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Sherry, thank you. Jeffrey, thanks a lot. Adam, of course. Now, remember, You need that daily planner. You've seen everybody here hold their planner up, and it's being used. Just go to the website, 802365.com, and order it, then follow along the podcast. It's about $1 a day. And if $1 a day is too much in your life, as we always say quite respectfully, there's no point you being here. But if you get the benefit of it, get the planner, and like, we've said this before, with the daily planner, it almost becomes like your cell phone. Like when you get up in the morning and you can't find it, you panic because you need it in your life. So order yours today. So on behalf of Adam Vincent Gilmer, Jeffrey Gall, Sherry Sherman, I'm Gene Velitis. This is Living Your Life Well Planned. We'll see you right around the corner on episode number 39. 80-20-365, a time management system to help you achieve your goals and dreams in 2021 and beyond. We all have the same amount of time. Our results depend where we invest it. 80-20-365, living your life well planned.